Peace and blessings, everyone. And on tonight's edition of the STEM Files, we are not only celebrating our 4th anniversary of the STEM Files, we are also going to be talking about the importance of highlighting Black people in science and technology and its impact on Black youth. Stay tuned for more after this. All right, once again, everyone, thank you all for tuning in. This is the STEM Files, where we highlight the best. We highlight the best in STEM talent and Black culture. I'm one of your hosts, Tariq Muhammad, aka Tariq Cardiac. I am a biomedical engineer. Oh my God, I'm a biomedical research scientist with a primary background in cardiovascular pathobiology, which is the study of how diseases form in the heart and in the blood vessels. Jay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Peace and blessings, family. It's your brother, your servant, your friend, Jabril Muhammad, aka Jabrillion Engineer, mechanical engineer focusing in naval ship fluid systems, with a background in material science and engineering. Happy to be here. Happy to be with our big bro, Dr. Nehemiah Mabry.
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing? Can you hear me?
Well, yes, sir. Loud and clear.
All right. No feedback or nothing like that?
Nah, you good.
Yeah. No, I'm honored, man. I'm honored to be on the show, fellas.
Yes, honor to have you, man. Definitely welcome to the STEM Files, and we definitely going to keep having you over and over again, as time goes on. But as I was mentioning before, this is the 4th anniversary of the STEM Files. We were founded September 24th, 2016. We had our first episode October the 1st, I believe. And it has been an amazing journey. For those who want to see the vintage episodes of the STEM Files, definitely check us out in the link in the description. We were originally on Blog Talk Radio for like 2 years. Then we moved to YouTube. Took a year off, came back this past July, and now we're back at it again. So I think we've had close to 30 episodes or 25 episodes since coming back, Jabril. So
hey man, well listen, let me say happy anniversary. Congratulations. It is being consistent, fellas. You all have been consistent for 4 years, despite the break, just to continue to keep it going says a lot. You all didn't fade. You all came back and brought it back for us.
Absolutely, man. Thank you. We appreciate that. But so at this time, we're going to go ahead and get to know you a little bit more in your career background and what you do with STEMedia. So, Jabril, can you kind of go into our brother's background? Tell us more about him.
Yes, sir. Of course. So, family, we have Dr. Nehemiah James Mabry, PE. That means professional engineer. He's a structural engineer, STEM educator, and entrepreneur based in Raleigh, North Carolina. His experience includes over 8 years of research at the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, and currently works as a bridge design engineer at Simpson Engineers and Associates. As a PhD student at NC State University, he founded STEMedia Incorporated in 2012. STEMedia is a media company that provides inspirational and educational creative content for the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics community. Since inception, Dr. Mabry has won national awards, engaged thousands through public speaking and lectures, and partnered with several organizations, businesses, and academic institutions in STEM outreach. One of those being the STEM Files and Original Man Scientific. Shameless plug. And with that, welcome again, big bro. Happy to have you on. We're gonna get right to it.
Absolutely. You gave the highlight. You gave a real highlight, man. Original Man Scientific, definitely one of the highlights of who I've gotten to work with.
Awesome.
Excellent. Yeah, man. So tell us more about STEMedia, man, because the theme of tonight's episode is really to help our people understand the importance of highlighting the scientists and engineers in our communities.
Yeah.
And what you've been able to do with STEMedia, you didn't have to incorporate the word Black, which I thought was very cool.
Mm-hmm.
You just highlight Black and brown people. That's what you do.
Yep.
And we in the STEM Files and in Original Man Scientific understand the importance of highlighting our people in these areas, because these are the things that build communities. These are the areas of endeavor that build human life.
Right.
So tell us the importance of that, where STEMedia came from, whose idea it was, and what your journey has been like so far with highlighting our people in the sciences.
Yeah, no doubt. So I'll start there with the last part, the importance of it, man. You know, when it comes to showing Black people, when it comes to showing, you know, people of color, those who in some contexts are referred to as underrepresented, right? Really. But when it comes to that, right, it's like it's special, but at the same time, it's like it's what we do. You know what I mean? That dichotomy between you don't see it that often, but then again, I'm not shocked because I know that intelligence is all among us. You know what I mean? And so when you mentioned that STEMedia, our name is STEMedia, that was sort of the angle, right? There's so many angles to come at it, but that was sort of the angle coming at it where, yes, it is a brand, a media company that has a special interest in the highlighting of Black people excelling in these STEM fields, but also there's a intention and an objective to make sure that people know that, hey, this is just what we do. We aren't like some sort of like an anomaly when it comes to giving or making intellectual or technical contributions to the world. I mean, you can go as far back as you want to go. Y'all know that, man. Original Man Scientific, you know, like life started on the continent of Africa. So when you talk about the grand accomplishments and contributions to civilization that predate the Western world, guess where it came from? You know what I mean? So this isn't something new that came upon us once we had access to education in this country. It's something that was always a part of who we are as individuals. And so the media is just kind of one angle of saying, like, here's another place where whether you are Black or not, that you can come and you can still get great knowledge and you can still see incredible intellect as we again highlight those that look like you and I. And so I just want to start there and say, yeah, I did a talk recently, Jabril, Tariq, where I said like it's special, but it's also normal. You feel me? It's like a special kind of normal. So that's sort of the idea behind STEMedia. But I'll give y'all the story real quick, right? So I was in grad school. I had just came to North Carolina State University, pursuing my PhD, and I decided to I wanted to do some stuff that was more than just being in the lab doing my engineering, because when I was in undergrad, I did like all types of creative stuff outside of engineering. I was in a drama group, an improv group. I learned how to play the bass guitar, sang in a couple of singing groups. Like I did a number of things. So I still had that creative itch when I was in my PhD program, despite how demanding it was. And so there was this national campaign sponsored by Intel called the Stay With It campaign. And I remember North Carolina State was one of the hosting sites. And we had this big kickoff for it. It's Georgia Tech, so many other companies. And at the end, they issued a challenge where they said, any engineering students out there that can put together a creative video explaining why you chose engineering, what you're doing to stay with it, and really like your motivation and things like that. And I was like, oh, bet, I'm going to do it. So I asked for opinions from friends. I got a buddy. I was like, hey, follow me around campus. So we went around campus and we filmed like this day in the life of an engineering student. And I thought it was a unique idea. I was like imagining it like a Nike commercial or like like that was my idea, right? And so I did it. It's still on YouTube. As a matter of fact, it's the very first video on STEMedia's channel. And long story short, this contest wasn't just sponsored by Intel, but MTV was a part of it. Facebook was a part of it. And I remember getting a call from an executive at MTV. It's like, tell us about this. Did you really do this? Because all the other videos we got were just kind of talking head videos. It was just people looking at their phone. But you actually had a narrative to it. I was like, yeah, I did that. And it was like, what about the music? I was like, yeah, that's from when I was in high school. You know, we had a rap group in high school. And it was like, oh, okay. Okay. Man, that won first national grand prize. They played it on MTV a couple of times. And from there, I just kind of started getting, I guess, a little local notoriety as the guy that makes creative STEM videos. And so that was the start of STEMedia.
Wow.
Yes, sir. You know, you mentioned something very key. You talked about, you know, our people being in STEM, you know, really going back to the beginning of civilization. But even at being special, but also being normal. It's what we do. Yeah. You being a structural engineer, you know, I'm a mechanical engineer background in material science and engineering. And I love when we have engineers on, because I get to geek out and kind of really unpack everybody's field and like how they correlate. So could you unpack for us, for those listening, who'd like to get, you know, into the nitty gritty on the STEM files? You know, what is structural engineering? What do they do? And also, secondary question, what is the difference, if there is any, between an engineer and a scientist?
Oh,
Yeah.
I like that.
That's a good question, man. That's a good question. So I'll do like I did last time, start backwards. The difference between the engineer and the scientist, I think one person put it this way, like scientists try to figure out why, or engineers figure out how. And I'm sure there's a little bit of overlap, but scientists are seeking to gain new knowledge, to answer questions, and try to figure out, the mechanisms of what caused some of the phenomena in our world, right?
Right.
Engineers are like looking at a problem and saying, how can I then take this knowledge that we gained from the science and actually solve this problem and bring about how can I make innovation and technology come into being that we currently don't have. So I think they're very complementary of each other, both very, very needed. And so as it relates to structural engineering, right, I am in that field of engineering where we essentially determine how to build things that can carry loads. That's it. How can we create, whether it's a building, it's a car, it's a bridge, it's a tower, something that needs to be stable under various loads. And so when we talk about loads, we're talking about forces such as, the weight of the people that may be on it. We're talking about the self-weight of the bridge. I see you have a picture there, like the beams and the girders and the things that are actually is made out of. It's talking about environmental loads such as the snow, such as the rain, such as a lot of different other forces. We're talking about just various types of loads. And so structural engineering, while it's notable in the area of bridges, that's what I do currently, but it also applies to aerospace when it comes to space vehicles. It also applies to really like even very, very small devices and instruments that may be in dynamic environments, right? How can that structurally take care or resist the vibration, all that takes place? And so that's what structural engineering in a nutshell, man. And I'm happy to geek out with you if you want to, man. Whatever you want to ask.
Again, I guess going back to that marriage we were talking about, when you think about materials, a big portion of the study of material science is understanding material structure, micro scale, nanoscale. So we have the macro scale when you look at truss bridges, when you look at how things are oriented to split stress concentrations and to be able to take cyclic loading. Because it's one thing to be loaded, but it's another thing to have longevity with that load. How tough is the material? How are the materials aligned and come together to be able to take day after day, week after week of not only just loads, but cyclic and different types of loads at different areas.
Yeah.
Micro and nano scale, like, okay, depending on what crystalline structure, non-crystalline structure is present, I'm going to get a series of certain properties that come from that structure to be able to utilize these for different applications. So I've always liked, and having worked in some structural engineering from a maintenance and failure perspective, and then kind of coming to mechanical aspects, kind of allowed me to understand more about what I'm in. So definitely thank you for breaking that down.
You'd appreciate this, and I know composite materials is another good example, right? So sometimes the material as they are doesn't always serve the need. It doesn't always have the right properties. So we combine. We have a composition of materials at times, composite materials, where I studied a lot of fiber reinforced polymers. So you take the polymer, you embed it with your carbon fiber or your glass fibers, and so now you have a component of it that's strong in tension when it's being pulled, as well as you have something that's strong in compression. A perfect example of this that everybody may be aware of is reinforced concrete in my world, right? That's a large-scale composite material where you take the steel, which is strong in one way, and then the concrete, which is strong in the other way, right? So you have something bending or like a bridge that's bending, right? The bottom side of something bending, there's going to be one of the crack that way. So the steel is going to resist that pull, right? But then as bending, the top part of it is going to want to press together. Guess what resists that? The concrete. And so now we have this composition of two different materials on just a larger scale that are able to resist whatever it may experience by taking advantage of the strength of each element. So I thought that would be something that you in your background.
Composites are definitely part of the new wave. Obviously, nano materials and everything, and from a medical perspective, are there. But the ability to take, when you talk about material selection, and I'm sure that's something over in structures, right? I need to know like if I have a basketball team, right, and I got my specialists and I got my all-around players.
Exactly. Yeah.
Able to put my team in the best position to succeed, knowing, okay, if you're a shooter, all right, I need to be able to get you off the pick and roll type thing. You pop out,
spot up.
You know what I'm saying? Versus if you're not a shooter, but you a great passer, I'm have you orienting my offense.
Yeah.
So, and in the same way here, you're talking about composites. You know, 3 different minds from one whole coming together, give you 3 different sides. So I'm done. I'll be talking all day.
I love it.
No, I was enjoying it. I was getting some engineering lessons, because I like I was saying, I have a biology background, a medical background, so my level of understanding engineering is very, very limited. So I love when we do have engineers on the show, because I know Jabril is an engineer. So when the guest and Jabril kind of pretty much put on a classroom, you know, for our audience, especially me. So I'm just sitting back, taking it all in. One of the things I wanted to ask you, before we because this topic can go on throughout the rest of the show, is the situation with Breonna Taylor. That has sparked so much. The moment we found out about the case, that itself sparked a whole bunch of tension. Now we're here, 6-7 months later after her murder, and this is the result that our community gets. So I don't want the STEM files to be just talking about science. I want us to be able to be scientists talking about issues in our communities as well. So as an engineer, as somebody who focuses on bringing Black people to the forefront, as a scientist, give us your thought process or your insight on what's going on in our communities when it comes to police reform, when it comes to how we treat our women, our families as Black men, and so forth.
Yeah. Man, first of all, I applaud you for bringing that up, because you're right. We are not in a vacuum, right? We live in the same society as our brothers and sisters in other professions, right? And so we can't pretend like it doesn't exist. And this is tough, because it's sort of emotional too. We're talking about just recently hearing the verdict and realizing that justice was not served on a lot of levels, right? And there's so many individuals who disturbingly find it easy to not care. That just really makes it tough, right? But here's my thought, right? And I actually shared this privately with some people on my team yesterday. Whenever I see things like this, I first and foremost try to see how I can make it strengthen and bring fire to my purpose, right? Because we all have a role to play, and it's so important, Tariq, that we play our role, because we cannot expect people. I'm not saying that they shouldn't, but we're saying we cannot solely depend on someone else unacquainted with our story or unmoved by our story and our context to always give us what we should be given.
Talk about it.
You know what I mean? So what happens is it comes a point on one hand where, yes, there is a responsibility. There's a societal responsibility. This Constitution of this country does, as MLK said, wrote a check that it needs to be cashing. But at the same time, I cannot continue to kind of wait for that check to clear before I do what I'm supposed to do. And so I look at this and say, all right, how can I make sure that anything that's within my sphere of influence, whether it be on STEMedia, whether it be the relationship I have, whether it be the young woman, Black woman that I'm raising and that I'm married to right now, how can I make sure that they are fully equipped, both internally in what they believe about themselves, but also in what I am able to provide them, so that there is never any discrepancy what is good and what is bad. Meaning, like, they can be clearly on the side and represent everything that is great about who we are as individuals, because of what I have been able to pour in them through the things that I have tangibly provided as well as spiritually provided. And so I look at that and say, all right, maybe I cannot eliminate the world or automatically inject everybody with compassion and empathy that we need to make sure we don't get verdicts like that. Maybe I can't, right? But I can make sure I charge up so much right and good, again, within everything that's in my sphere of influence, so that if ever something like that tries to encroach my environment, it will never have won't have the same potency as if I was just sitting back saying whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like for instance, going back to intelligence, I believe that my daughters should be raised in a way so that they have the confidence and the intelligence, such that if one day they ever come face to face with someone trying to demean them or treat them as if they do not matter or don't have the same value, that they will stand up and they will speak up and they will do whatever they need to do, because they know that they came from a household or from a father that validated that in them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so it comes down to you saying, all right, I may not, as an individual, be able to do everything, but because I can't do everything, that which I can do, and I think this is a quote, I will not refuse not to do. Right?
Right.
So, STEMedia, talking about STEMedia, for instance, right? There is a confidence, I think, that people can gain from seeing themselves in positive representation, seeing themselves in positive images, seeing themselves shining bright in elements outside of the ones that they always show us, right? And I don't want to necessarily name it because it seems like it's shade. It's not shade, but the fact of the matter is, there was an effective approach. And I don't know how many y'all got me fired up, but there's an effective approach when you look at oppression, the history of oppression that media played, right? There's an effective role that media played in getting the minds of certain individuals to see certain other people as unworthy of sympathy, as well as those individuals seeing themselves a certain way. Right? There's a reason, again, I said this, I even had a video on this. There's a reason why, images of lynches at one time were so like highly popularized and put on flyers and everything. It wasn't just so because everybody thought it was cool to see, but it was also almost like the people who looked like the people who were hanging to see, right? To feel the same way. And so I'm like, all right, how can I change in my sphere, within our audience, within our reach, put images that validate the importance and the value that we have as a people? So that if every time they do see images right there, there are at least images in the mindset that I just saw from scrolling through social media or looking at STEMedia's page or watching that last video, that at least challenge the image that I may have just seen on TV. You know what I mean? So one of the things I think STEMedia is able to do, and again, it doesn't eradicate everything, but again, I look at this and say, how can I use this disappointment, this even anger at times, and cause it to fuel me with the purpose that I know that I have and the impact that I can make on this world. I don't know how long I just got finished talking, but
bro, you good.
Yeah.
First off, I gotta say this, man. Everybody in the chat, I need a black power fist. I need some black clap hands.
Yes, light it up.
Now, for Brother Nehemiah and all the strong black fathers trying to instill positivity and strength in their families, whether sons, daughters, their wives in general, right? I need that. So we need to drop that black power fist or them black clap hands in the chat. We're gonna applaud strong black fatherhood tonight. So
appreciate that.
A couple of things, man. You brought up so much in me. So in the Nation of Islam, we're taught to do for self or suffer the consequences. So my thing is, yes, in a society, you should hold those who are over you in some authoritative capacity to a standard. But at a certain point, I don't let the trash in my home pile up.
Yeah.
Just because it's not necessarily my job at any given time to put it out. I clean my ish up because I'm a responsible citizen, a responsible human being, adult, right?
Right.
You talked about a world or the world. We're also taught and we understand that a world is really only a sphere of mental activity. So you in your household teach and train and have a certain rod, if you will. A rod is just a standard, a rule, a law in your home. Your own world. And everybody created their own world in their home. Along grounded universal principles of do unto others as we would have done unto ourselves. We're going to raise strong, powerful, independent black women, black men. We're going to treat modesty in women the same way we treat modesty in men. These different things that are echoed throughout the community. If we all had that strong law, we would create a new world overnight.
Yeah.
So I definitely think you brought up so many keys in what you just
Man.
said. And I'm so appreciative of you being on the show, bro, because you really are speaking life into everyone right now. I hope.
Yeah. Thank you, man. And I love what you're saying. Just to riff off of that, man. Like, so then, in a very real sense, because you just validated a lot of my thinking too. In a very real sense, I have a large impact and influence on the world, on the literal world that my daughters are currently experiencing. So their mental activity will obviously expand as they grow. But at the ages they are now, right, they're not even started school yet. I need to take seriously that responsibility of shaping the world as they know it, in a way that validates them as independent, strong women who have a lot to offer their world.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally. And I actually wanted to ask you something about that too. Just in terms of the life of a Black scientist. Some of our people who may not know or understand certain aspects of a scientist or engineer's life, they look at them as geeks or nerds or things along those lines, or somebody being corny, or just no personality at all, just in the lab all day under a rock or whatever. I wanted to talk about being, because all of us on this screen are married. All of us are building families. So I wanted to talk about the Black scientist family life. Tell us about how has your family been able to support STEM media or anything that you do related to science? And how has your marriage been able to help not only STEM media grow, but to use STEM media to help grow your marriage and vice versa?
Yeah. Well, first of all, shout out to my wife, Jennifer, and my daughters. I definitely acknowledge them. And a lot of other times I talk. And so, it's so many directions I could go with that. But my wife, first of all, has been extremely critical for the continuation of STEM media. So, like, I started it when I was in grad school. We were dating at the time, but still in a large part, she went to her spot, I went to my spot. If I stayed up all night, if I did something randomly, if I need to edit it, it didn't really affect her. But to look at the fact that that's how it started, but now I have additional responsibilities of being a husband, being a father, bathing the girls, putting them down, reading to them, make sure that they got their food, making sure that we connect and we have our time and we can understand each other, making sure that, bills are paid, like everything, right, that comes into being, who I am today. It cannot be done without having someone who was on your team who was as supportive as she has been, right? And so definitely say that because it's crazy, man. And y'all know, again, 4 years, right? There are a lot of times where you start being like, man, like maybe this isn't that big of a deal, right? Like
we're just talking about that.
You start feeling like, yeah, maybe I don't need to post this. Like I was planning on it, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or like very realistically, it's like I didn't expect this to take that long. And so now in this moment, I can either, make sure STEM media gets what it needs right now, or somebody need to make sure that these kids eat. You know what I mean? And there are very literal times where she's like, here, you go do that. I'm gonna handle this. And there's nothing wrong. I just want to say this too. There's nothing wrong for taking those moments, right? If it comes up in life, it really doesn't allow you to do everything, because not everything is gonna go as planned. But I can tell you for sure that there have been countless numbers of times where, man, if she wasn't there, like STEM Media Live wouldn't have happened, flat out. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't have been a continuation of some of the things. So I just want to speak on that. When it comes to my daughters, and I talk about them a lot when I do presentations on engineering your purpose, right? And that is something a program that I have through STEM Media. They give an additional like why to why I do what I do. You know what I mean? Like no longer is it just, it kind of morphed from like early on. Sometimes it's like, I want to do this because I think it's fun and I think this is a great idea. And this really fuels me. And then it starts to kind of like, again, when it starts taking work, sometimes you start feeding off the energy of other people. Maybe you get a note or a message or a DM or whatever, right? But then now I have an additional why that is, even if the world doesn't embrace it like they do in my head, right? There are still at least 2 individuals that need to see this.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if I upload a video right now and I'm talking about not giving up, even if it gets no views, and it happens to just get 2 views later on, whether I'm here or not by my 2 daughters, then that video was worth being produced. And so they just add, for an example, that's just one example of how they add an additional why to the purpose that I feel like I have, and that is to inspire and elevate other people, particularly in this area known as STEM.
Bro, wow.
Yeah.
And like you saying, we were just talking about this. So I have to do this as a quick anecdote. So on our last show, when we had the Black on,
Yeah.
one of the things amongst the wealth of knowledge she laid out that we're still parsing today, she mentioned how when she was coming on the show, how she had people inboxing her and everything about, oh, you got to be on the STEM files or whatever. Oh, that's lit. We finna watch it. And it kind of threw us a bat because kind of knowing the work we put in, always being your worst critic or your harshest critic or whatever, not understanding who lives or who looks at your stuff and uses it for motivation. So I'm right here. I'm at point A. I'm not trying to be at point D. Or I'm 20x amount years old. I should be at point A. But it's literally people who appreciate, whether it's your family or someone you don't know, who appreciate what you put out. Yeah. So kind of going into that concept of why, we got to realize that this is for the now and this is for the future.
Mm-hmm.
There are those who literally, not to pump our own chest, but like may live like, yo, with the STEM files on, this is what I needed. Or STEMedia, this is exactly what I needed. So when life, it's not so much about the followership or the views, even though that helps.
Yeah.
But that one person could be the next mogul of something, and then you watching their TEDx talking about, yo, I watched the STEM files, man. I watched the STEM
Yeah.
the title and everything. You like watching that, and you just never know who you touch, and then vice versa. So definitely thank you for that and everything. I want to discuss something coming up. I saw you post it earlier today, and I thought it was lit. So the 2nd annual STEM Success Summit. Can you talk about what that is and why we all need to be there?
Oh man, listen, definitely got to be there. So it's funny, right? We're in a period now where like everybody's doing virtual summits, but shout out to the team, the planning team, and everybody that participated in our first virtual summit, which was in 2019, which was again like it was a virtual. It was 100% virtual. We came together and we really just put together. We invited a lot of different speakers who agreed to present on various areas of STEM success and career and personal development and professional development, and it went very, very, very well. We had over 1,000 attendees, 14 different time zones. And we concluded with this finale that was here locally in North Carolina that also went just phenomenal, right? And so the team, we're like, well, we got to keep this thing going. We got to keep this thing going. And lo and behold, right, the world shut down in many ways. And so here we are, right, where like no longer is it a foreign idea for people to attend a conference virtually. And so sort of like, not only do we have this opportunity, but we have like one under our belt to bring 3 times the value to 3 times the individuals, right? And so here's what I want to tell you. If you are in STEM and you're a young professional in STEM, maybe you are about to graduate from college in a few years, maybe you were just in your first couple of years of your career, maybe you are an individual that is like, all right, listen, I am considering a slightly different career change. This is for you, because what we're doing as we speak, again, the planning team, we are assembling a group of speakers. We are assembling a group of organizations and sponsors. Wink, wink. If you're interested, let us know. That is going to come and bring to you a series of presentations and sessions that you cannot afford to miss. That will literally, again, change your mindset, give you the tools and the resources, and connect you to the people that are necessary to take your career, your STEM career, to the next level. And the best thing about it, since I'm here on the STEM Files, is that you will not just see people that you see in every other STEM related summit, right? You're going to see a lot of melanin. You're going to see people who are intelligent in various shades, and it's going to be something where you're going to feel at home and get the value that you need to take your career to the next level. So that's what I just want to say. STEMSuccessSummit.com is coming November. That's our time frame we did last year. So November 19th through 20th, 2020 is the second annual STEM Success Summit.
Awesome. Family, it's so much value. We are live at the STEM Files on Facebook and YouTube, and that's the information for the STEM Success Summit. He said 21st, save the date. I talked to Tariq already. We're going to do our best to be present.
Yeah.
Game being given by the OGs and the not so OGs. You know, we can take the STEM Files and Original Man Scientific, our parent company, to the next level.
Yeah.
Like I was saying before, right now, the STEM Files on Facebook and YouTube live, right? We are Brilliant Engineer and Tariq Cardiac. It's every Thursday and Saturday at 6 p.m. To follow us for more information into where we're going to drop new content, new videos, and have people just like our bro, Dr. Nehemiah, on. Follow us at the STEM Files on Instagram. Big shout out to Apavelli in the comments, a budding partner for Original Man Scientific. Shout out to National Network View, an up-and-coming media empire, giving us a nice little shout-out in the comments. My bro, Orlando Lyles, coming up on his own PhD. We've had him on the show before. Thank y'all so much for your support, man. We're gonna keep it going for the next 30 minutes. Tariq?
Yeah. Man, I cannot wait to see how we can get involved in the in that upcoming event you got going on. Yeah, it's real tough. You know, I actually had a question for you about STEMedia, you know, in terms of marketing and branding and being able to own your content, not just put out content,
right,
but own your content. I noticed the trademark symbol above STEMedia.
Yeah.
Tell us about that process. Tell us how it was to being able to own a brand that you own, your intellectual property, own a brand that you came up with, and being able to control how STEMedia is demonstrated or displayed, you know, for our people.
Yeah, no, that's a good question, man. It's funny because one of my early mentors, and she still encourages me and supports me to this day, Miss Angelita Daniel, shout out to her. She was always saying early on when I first started doing the videos. So after I won the contest, right, people started like asking me to do videos for them. People started saying, "Oh yes, STEMedia, y'all heard of that company?" And mind you, Tariq, like I wasn't a company at that point. I was just me, right? I thought STEMedia was a cool name. I think I created like this Microsoft Word logo. But she, again, Miss Angie was just like, "Yo, you need to trademark that. You need to protect it. You can lock that down." And so, sure enough, I took advantage of like this one time I've heard of some pro bono lawyer consultations that was happening on campus. But I was fortunate, right? And so I went in and I had all my questions. How do you trademark? How do I get an LLC? You know, where do I go? Da, 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 da. Like, I was like, yo, this is for pro bono. They doing it to students. They think they're going to give me a presentation. I'm just going to be like, yeah. Questions. How can I make this thing official? And so, like, I milked that 30 minutes, man. And so when I left there, I got with a friend of mine, or at least a family of a friend of mine that had an accountant firm. They helped me do the articles of incorporation. My first trademark, I went online and just read the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, how to submit it by yourself. And so I did it, and I'm not necessarily recommending it. You can do it by yourself. But as far as the first trademark of STEMedia, I went in and I figured out how to do it myself. I read every detail, and I actually submitted my first trademark application completely by myself, no help of a lawyer or anything. I mean, I didn't have the funds at that point. And that was enough to get the ball rolling. Now, since then, though, I was able to find out that, hey, here's a stronger way to file for your trademark. So I actually filed the second one. I started to, go through all the taxes and formulate the business. It was not a LLC, actually. It's a different small corporation, S Corp, and started learning different things by getting help. But here's the thing the story I was just going to point out is that as soon as I did it the first time, I go on Google, because of course you do a lot of Googling when you want to make sure your stuff is original.
Yeah, yeah.
Soon after I trademarked it, y'all, I went on Google, and guess what I found? Somebody using the exact same name as me. And I was like, oh snap, right? And there's this thing about you can own it, but trademarks is one of those things where you also got to be prepared to like protect it and defend it. Because if you don't and you just kind of let people use it, whatever, it's actually going to weaken your trademark. And so I remember I didn't really know what to do, right? I think I sent like an email. I was like, hey, y'all, this is my trademark independently. And long story short, I started getting some advice from lawyers. And because I had already filed, because I had proof of ownership, they had to drop it. And that happened again. That happened later on as well. We could talk more about offline. Some of the entities actually that were involved. That's funny. Some more well-known entities. You'd be surprised. But had to send a few cease and desist letters and things like that. All because, again, you want to protect what you own. You want to protect your intellectual property. And you want to make sure that there's a distinction, right? You don't want to have so much overlap and so much ambiguity between what you call yourself and what somebody else calls himself, such that it sort of like, again, weakens the brand and what you're trying to do, where the messages can get mixed up. And so I learned a lot, man. There's a lot I can talk about as it relates to that too, man. I remember reading a book from the library. This is all independently, right? I got this book. I won't try to say it now. I don't want to missweat it, but it was about branding and things you should do early in your idea process to make sure that, hey, if this thing actually grows, you've done the necessary groundwork, such as securing URLs or whatever is necessary so that your brand can thrive. And so, yeah, I did a lot of that, just kind of renegade on my own, and I'm glad I did. I really am glad that I took initiative early to do that.
Yeah, yeah. You know, we at Original Man Scientific, we are big on intellectual property.
Yep.
And being able to have a say so over what it is that you create and come up with. That's why we started the invention workshops that we have going on between now and November 14th.
Right.
You know, we as Black people have been robbed for too long on ideas, inventions, whatever it is that we come up with. We have always been the people to get gypped out of our intellectual property and the things that we come up with. And you know, another thing we're taught is that the idea, the thought, that we don't own. God can take that and put it in someone else.
Right.
But when you make motion on your idea, when you seeking the proper guidance to protect your idea, when you're taking the steps to make sure that no one else can use your idea without consulting you or getting your permission first, that is when it becomes intellectual property. So intellectual property is not your intellect.
Right.
Intellectual property is literally property from your intellect.
Yeah.
So we can understand that as a people, first and foremost, what intellectual property is, we'd be a lot better off in not only our business, you know, and you know, there's a lot of talk right now in the music world about owning your masters. You know, everybody's talking about that now. That seems to be like the theme in music right now, owning your stuff.
Right.
You know, so just speak a little bit more intellectual property, just a little bit more on this. I'm like a 21-year-old aspiring engineer, and I came up with something. Tell me how important my intellectual property is from your point of view.
Yeah. And again, like you're just talking to someone who followed the process. Of course, there are people who know a whole lot more about the process than I do. But what I can tell you is, just as you said, right? One, it is the expression as you begin to put that idea into work that it actually gains value. Because there are tons of ideas, but like you said, somebody else can have that same thought. But it begins to gain value the more energy and more fruit that comes from that idea, right? The fruit of that idea is now what you can start to protect. And this ties into what y'all are doing. There's so much that you don't know that you don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like I got a dope song. And the music industry is just perfect for that, right? Like a lot of people signing crazy record contracts because they didn't really know where the value was, right?
Right.
Publishing, right? There was an idea that like, hey, if everybody knows my name and they attribute this song to me, then that in and of itself is it. But it's like, no. Like there's so much more to it. And so I think education is the first thing. And what you all are doing is so important because you're going to allow people to learn things that they didn't even know they didn't know. And so when you come up with this idea, first thing I would say is start reading and find someone else who perhaps is a little further along the journey to start educating you on what is incorporating, right? What is the difference between a trademark and a copyright, all right, versus a patent, right? Like what are the differences between those? What are specimens? How can I prove that I've actually created this thing first? Do I need to put it on a sheet of paper? Do I need to write it up? Do I need to record it? Do I need to publish it online? And sometimes, like, believe it or not, in this day and age, we do have an ability to publish things on a lot of different platforms. We need to know how we can actually put that into a portfolio, into an application, and actually protect it, right? And so I think education is the first thing you should try to do. Try to figure out not only what you know you don't know, but even the things that you don't know that you don't know. So I'll say that first and foremost.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
The thing is, this is, as you're talking, I'm like, man, me and Tariq, as we continue to develop and, analyze and self-examine the invention and innovation workshops, we want to make sure that when we're talking to, our young people and everything, and then as we move to 18 and older,
Right.
late October and after, that we are giving a very succinct, streamlined program, letting you know exactly what it is you don't know, right? Is you even think you know. And talking to, loving for you to come on and just like have some time to even talk about some of your experiences and everything, and be able to add value in that way. We definitely want that program is as good as it can be, as we plan to make it, a household, program of the company. So thank you so much for adding that.
That's great. That's great, man.
Definitely. So, as we come towards the end of the show, one of the things we like to do is called the STEM file speed round. So the speed round is pretty much a list of random questions that we like to ask our guests outside of what today's topic was about, just to kind of get to know them a little bit more, and just to see the type of person they are outside of science. So you ready for it?
Man, you should have sent me ahead of time. You should have given me the cheat sheet, but I think I'm good.
All right, cool. Jabril, you want to start it off with something?
All right, okay. All right, Iron Man or Batman?
Iron Man.
Okay.
Okay, hot or cold?
Hot or cold? Cold.
Okay. Now be careful how you answer this. This will determine our relationship from here on out.
The next one?
iPhone or Android?
Oh man, why you had to draw a line? I'm gonna have to go team Android, man. I'm sorry.
Oh my God! Finally, it's about time.
It ain't hot over there like it used to be, man. I'm just saying, it's not party ain't popping like it used to be, man. So I'm gonna have to go Android.
Oh my God! Finally, somebody said the right thing.
Oh.
Man, every other guest has been saying iPhone and anything Mac related. I'm like, y'all tweaking hard with this stuff, man.
Shout out to them, you know what I'm saying? But I said what I said, Tariq. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate that, man.
Say what I said.
All right. Favorite thing to cook?
Favorite thing to cook? Man, I can make a mean pot of chili. Get down.
Okay, that's what's up. Is it a secret recipe, or can you tell us what you put in it?
I got a couple of secret ingredients. I won't divulge. You know what I'm saying? until I get that copyright, that trade secret.
Right. The intellectual property.
I like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, bet. All right. Let's see. Professional research and engineering or volunteerism?
Oh man, that's a lot of follow up I got to that. You mean like if my bills were taken care of, or if I had the money I needed,
just like an engineer.
Yeah.
Down.
There we go. Say the question. You said professional research.
Yeah, so like being in a professional environment or volunteerism.
Man, I'm gonna say I gotta blend the two, man. I gotta lean to a professional environment because I feel like there's a lot of service and a lot of the same value I can get from a professional environment if I make the right strategic moves. Yeah, so I'm gonna
okay.
I got one.
All right.
5 million today or 800 credit score?
5 million today. Well, you know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to brag or anything. 5 million today.
Okay.
Why you say 5 million today?
Because you already got it.
I can just say, time that I start building up my credit score, my 5 million could be accruing and appreciating in my various investments.
Listen.
Yeah. School them real quick. Yeah. So and that, you know, we think about that's a whole nother episode. That's a whole nother episode. We gonna keep moving on that.
Yeah. Y'all should definitely do one on that for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely come at it from a little a different, like maybe a more scientific perspective.
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite song of all time?
That's tough, man. That's tough. A lot of my favorite songs are gospel. You know what I mean? I'm a Christian, so I got like a lot of songs that spoke to me at different times in my life.
Okay.
Yeah. I just say "Let Go, Let God." That's not my favorite all time, but that's what's coming to mind right now. Let go.
Let go and let God. That's what's up. That's what's up. This is actually the first question that we meant to ask. What's the first thing you do or think of when you wake up?
First thing, man. So of course I don't want to be all fake and cliche. I think I'd be like, did I forget something? Like that's kind of what it is. Like, yo, did I fall asleep on something I shouldn't have? I left undone. Then I'm like, cool, thank you for another day. Definitely, I am definitely like that. But the first thing usually is there anything that I left? Did I leave the stove on? You know what I mean? I don't know. That's gonna change eventually. But that does come to my mind a lot of times. Just to be transparent.
Got you. Okay. I got one. This one's not on the list I got. Favorite. Well, we got a question from audience. All right. Favorite TV sitcom mom.
Ooh, specific. Favorite TV sitcom mom. I got some, man. Mom. Favorite TV sitcom mom.
And please, if you say the one I'm thinking you're gonna say, make sure you say the right one, right version of that character.
No.
I'm making sure.
Yeah. No. I'm trying to think of. I know I got a good answer in there somewhere, man, but it's just not coming to me right now. I just got to go with Claire Huxtable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Why you say Claire?
Man, she had a perfect blend, I think, of like caring, nurturing, but she didn't take no stuff. Professional, but relatable. Style and strength. Yeah.
On 10 all the time. Yes. All right. Let's see here. What's the worst job you've ever had?
Oh man. So you read in my bio, I worked at NASA, right? So my first summer, I actually started when I was in high school, a research apprenticeship, and got paid more money than I ever got paid on any job. I loved it. It was a great summer job, especially to be in high school, on your way out of high school, being like, I do rocket science. You know what I mean? Walking around with a NASA tag. But I enjoyed it so much, y'all, that the next summer, I actually just volunteered. Like I was like, yo, give me a job until y'all can find another position. But because I volunteered, I need to work another job at night, which was a assembly line job. And I kid you not, I went in at like 5 or 6 p.m. and then get off to 5 or 6 p.m. in the morning. And we worked like 3 hours straight sprints and then had like 15-minute breaks. And we go into this break room. And man, you know, those jobs where you see people from all walks of life, man. But all I know is like, I was so tired, man, every day. My feet was hurting, man. And I was like, yeah, this is why I gotta I need to raise the ceiling on my career a little bit. Let me get some more skills so that I can try to take some other jobs. So yeah, that was the first one I took.
I feel on that. Like a lot of people don't see the bigger picture when it comes to jobs they don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Like the job, you're right, you don't like the job, but the job is supposed to push you to do what you want to do. What it is that you want to do. It's supposed to be like a nudge or a reminder. Hey, look, you don't like me.
Yes.
But I'm reminding you why you need to do what you're supposed to be doing or what you want to do in your life. You know, so that's how I like to look at jobs that, you know, are undesirable, so to speak.
Yep, that's how I looked at it.
You know, absolutely. All right. So if you were stuck on the island for a year, right?
Yeah.
And you can only listen to 3 albums, which albums would they be?
Ooh. 3 albums. Man, that's tough, right? All right, so I'm gonna start off with a gospel album. I probably go with the Rebirth of Kirk Franklin, one of my favorite gospel albums. I get down with the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Definitely one of the greatest albums of all time. All time. And then let's see another one. The third one would probably be something. It wouldn't be music. It'd probably be something like personal development or audiobook or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like Think and Grow Rich or something like that. So that when I get off the island, I have that mindset right, and we can make it happen.
Got you. Jabril, I meant to ask you, who's your favorite sitcom mom?
Favorite sitcom. That's just hard. That's kind of hard to say. I feel like focusing in on the moms, I never really took the chance to really do. Like, I gotta really think on that favorite sitcom mom. That's tough.
Yeah, I know, right? It's specific.
I love Aunt Viv. It just sticks out to me right now. So I would say Aunt Viv.
The what? Which one? Hold up.
Which Aunt Viv? I mean,
I
like the nice dark skin Aunt Viv. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Got you.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
If you said dad, like I was like, man, he should actually be dad. I would have went with if you said sitcom dad, I would have went with Pops from the Wayans Brothers, John Witherspoon all day.
See, I got Carl Winslow from Family Matters. That was my
Oh man, I've been rolling with Pops though.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, if you could meet any scientist from the past, who would it be and why?
These are some fun questions. Make me think, man. Any scientist from the past? I'm gonna go ahead and I had Jabril on STEMedia Live, and I talked about George Washington Carver. I'm gonna go with him simply because, right, this man had, countless ideas from the peanut itself. Like the first couple of parts were like low hanging fruit, but I'm wondering, like, all right, when you start hitting like, I don't know, 50,
right?
What was it mentally that caused them to like go to the next level and even more? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like for a guy to be able to discover so much, talk about niching down, and he did other stuff, sweet potatoes. You know what I'm saying? He did a lot of other stuff as well.
Right.
But honestly, man, his mind, he had to have gears to his mind, and so that's something I want to talk to, not only about the technical part, but just like mentally, like how did you go to the next level? All right, then how did you find the next 100? You know what I mean? So I definitely want George Washington.
I would love to just sit down and just interview him, talk to him, like be right next to him in the lab while he's doing stuff, helping him out in the lab.
Yeah,
that he influenced my research career heavily.
Yeah,
that was like the guy.
Yeah,
to study and to learn from, and he's not even here. So his legacy, when it comes to being having an impact in STEM, he's definitely the perfect example of a legacy lasting decades, centuries. So we definitely appreciate his work. If you weren't a structural engineer, what would you be?
If I wasn't a structural engineer, what would I be? Did I the entrepreneur count, or you want something more specific than entrepreneur?
That counts, but what would it be like involved? Like what would it be in? Like what type of entrepreneurship?
I would be a media entrepreneur.
Okay.
A structural engineer.
Got you.
I would be a media entrepreneur.
Okay, yeah. We when we ask that question, we see like similar choices. Like people would choose something similar to what they're currently doing. Like when we had the Aaron Shepard on.
Yeah.
And, he works as a robotics engineer with NASA. He would say, he said he would think a pilot or something like that, Jabril?
Yes, he would fly. He definitely said he would fly.
Yeah. He would still stay in the air. So we're noticing that like when it comes to science careers, people tend to, if they were to choose something else, it'll be something related to what they're doing.
What they're doing, yeah, that makes sense.
All right, cool. So my name is Nehemiah Mabry, Dr. Nehemiah Mabry, and I am a
inspirer.
Mm,
I like it.
I like that.
Yeah.
Inspired.
Well, on that note, we have definitely been inspired this evening. We, like we said, we were approaching, but now have arrived at the end of the show. Thank you, big bro, so much.
Thank y'all.
I'm gonna say part one. We gotta have you back.
Anytime.
Onward, upward with regards to the partnership between STEMedia, the STEM Files, Resume Scientific, and just brother to brothers. You know, I look up to you as one who is doing a lot of things that I'm currently doing, and in terms of building up children, you know, and having your own family, something that I hope to do in the future. So thank you so much for being on. Family, thank you again for tuning in. It's been the STEM Files live on YouTube and Facebook. Follow us at the STEM Files on Instagram. It's your brilliant engineer, Tariq Cardiac. Big bro, how can we learn more about you, what you do, STEMedia? How can we get in touch with you?
Yeah, I'm just going to say the website. I got a personal website, NehemiahMabry.com. So my name, and STEMedia.com. Check out our STEM edutainment streaming platform. It's in beta right now, but there's a lot of energy, a lot more coming to that platform. So check that out. And on Instagram, at Nehemiah Mabry, I see you guys on screen, or at STEMedia. That's STEMEDIA. One word or one M, STEMedia. And come on and rock with us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And last thing, family, as we continue to grow the brand, look for continued content, diversified content, as we continue to try to, deliver. Excuse me, I'm talking about something else. Continue to be a voice of STEM talent and Black culture, and highlight the best and brightest in science, technology, engineering, mathematics. We know it's not a sprint; it's a marathon. 4 years in, we're going to continue to be smarter and better going forward, and continue to give you really live content that you can use for yourself, your family, and society. Thank you. And this has been the STEM Files.
All right, everyone. Have a good evening.
Peace.
Yes, sir.
Peace.